What's going on, guys, and welcome to this post-Bristol episodes of Riding the Wall. And I did say episodes. We're going to break this down into two different shows this week. We're going to, in this episode, I'm just going to kind of give you a rundown of the finishing order, the points, and things like that from the race. Things that I saw, my thoughts on a few things. My boy Justin's sitting this one out. He's got some things to do tonight, but he'll be back up here later in the week, and we're going to give you a part 2 of our Bristol experience. And in that episode, Justin will give you his thoughts on what he's seen, and then we're going to dedicate that show to just nothing but our experience at Bristol. Everything that we did from the time we left home to the time we got back home, and everything in between. Just our day at Bristol, our day after, and just make it a whole episode of just stories. And we're probably going to have somebody sit in with us on that one. I think Mama Jess is going to sit in on that one. And if you don't know, Mama Jess is my wife, is what we call her. But she's going to sit in with us, and she's going to give us her perspective on a woman trying to, and I don't say this meanly, I'm just saying, she's trying to keep track of me and Justin at a NASCAR race, so we're going to get her perspective on all of that. But last time it was just me, Justin, and her when we went to the spring race in 2022. We went to the spring dirt race, and it was just us three, so she had a much harder time trying to keep up with us. But this time she had some help, so there were some others that went with us, my parents and Justin's mom and stepdad, so she had some help keeping us wrangled up, but we still did what we could. I mean, I think we only got half naked and mostly liquored up, so it wasn't too bad. Could have been a lot worse, but we're going to save that for the next episode later this week. Before the Texas race, you'll get that. And tonight I'm just going to kind of go over what happened at Bristol, what I seen, what I thought. So first I'll just start off with the results. I mean, Hamlin just kicked butt. I mean, he ended up winning the race. Larson gets second, Bell third, Buescher fourth, Ty Gibbs with a fifth place finish. McDowell sixth, Elliott 7, Brad Keselowski 8, William Byron 9, and old Ricky Spinhouse got 10th. That's pretty good showing for Ricky. I mean, he normally does pretty good at Bristol, so it didn't surprise me that he got a 10th place finish. But I know a lot of the talk was Stenhouse doesn't deserve to be in the playoffs. He got lucky at Daytona, blah blah blah, all of that. He hasn't done too bad this year. I mean, he's not getting top fives and winning races, but he's doing pretty good considering what he normally, his normal finishes are better this year than what they have been in the past. So, in my mind, Stenhouse with the 10th place finish, that's a good night for him at Bristol. You got Carson Hocevar in 11th. We'll get to that here in just a second. Bubba Wallace got a 14th. I know H.R. Scotty's going to be disappointed with that. He was kind of hoping he'd finish up in the top 5, but that's still not a bad night for Bubba at Bristol because, that's another track that he doesn't really do all that great at. Traditionally, he's not a front runner at Bristol, let's just say that. But, it was a cutoff race, and he needed to do what he needed to do, and that's exactly what he did. He was able to carry in a 14th place finish, was good enough to get him into the next round of the playoffs. We had Reddick finishing 15th, Truex 19th, Kyle Busch 20th, Ryan Blaney 22, Chastain 23, Harvick 29th, pretty disappointing night for him, and Joey Slogano finished 34th after getting in that wreck. So that's pretty much the rundown, top 10 plus some notable finishes after the top 10. And like I said, that was a cutoff race for the playoffs. The 4 drivers who got knocked out of the playoffs were Joey Slogano, Kevin Harvick, Ricky Spinhouse, and Michael McDowell. And I had McDowell and Stenhouse in my first 4 out, just because there wasn't, these first 3 races don't really favor them. I think had McDowell made it to the next round, he might have been in good shape because I think he would have done good at Talladega and at the Roval. Um, I think he just needs to focus on them first three races. Get that notebook a little bit thicker on these first three races of the playoffs. Do a little bit better on those next year because I think McDowell can be a consistent playoff person. He can be a consistently make the playoffs because he's doing good enough in these points to. I don't even think he would have needed a win to get in, but of course he did get the win there at Indy and locked him in, but he just didn't quite do enough. Even though he finished sixth, I felt like he was running better than that almost all night. He was in contention to do really good, but I think he was just in a must-win situation and he just couldn't quite get it done. You don't ever want to go into Bristol with a must-win situation, the same as going into Daytona or Talladega with a must-win. It's just so hard to. I mean, you almost have to be in the right place at the right time. You need so much luck at those tracks. Not only do you need the luck, but you need the skill to do that. And it just wasn't in the cards for McDowell at Bristol. And again, Stenhouse, same situation. He did really good, finishing 10th. It just he just had too big of a hill to climb. Kevin Harvick, I feel bad. I really feel bad for Harvick because everybody's wanting to see. At least I know I am. I can speak for Jess on this. We want to see Harvick get that win. And I thought going into Bristol, I thought he's got 3 chances left on this year. 3 tracks to get to have a really good chance of getting that win. And I thought Bristol was one of those tracks that he might have a shot at it. I was thinking Bristol, Talladega, and Phoenix. But he just kind of went out there and laid an egg at Bristol. So he got knocked out of the playoffs. I was hoping he'd stay in there. It's just not his year. It's his last year. Hopefully, I'm still hoping he gets that win, though. I don't think there's anybody out there that don't want to see Kevin get at least one win, And then Logano, I don't know, it's not been a typical Logano year. I think had he not got caught up in the wreck, I think he would have made it out of that. I think he would have made it into the round of 4. I think it would have been somebody else. Probably Bubba that would have got put out at Bristol instead of Logano, but he ran into some bad luck, got in that accident. I don't remember who all was in that wreck with him. I know Logano, LaJoy, and there was a couple other cars in there. I think Ty Dillon was in that, but I think Logano, he just got the worst of it. I didn't get to see the wreck as it happened. I think it was over in turns 3 and 4. We were sitting more towards turn 2. So I didn't really get to see exactly what happened and stuff, but it was just bad luck. It's another one of them Bristol things. It's just you don't want to go into Bristol knowing that you have to do this good or have to have this many points or have to have a certain type of night. You want to be able to go into Bristol and just be able to race your race. That's when the best things happen. When you don't have to worry about points, you don't have to worry about getting a win. You don't have to really worry about anything. Just keep your nose clean, keep your car straight, and do what you do, and usually you'll be all right. But or at least that will give you your best chance. That way you're not weighed down by the point standings lap by lap. We hear them on the radio all the time on these cutoff races. Where's this person at? Where's that person at in the points? And if it ends right now, what are we going to do? How many points do we need? You don't have to worry about all that. You can just go out there, run your race, and then get back to it next week. That way, if you have a bad week like Logano did, you might be able to recover from it. Truex was kind of in that boat. He almost needed a win at Bristol to advance, and I don't remember what lap it was, but it was about mid-race, I think it was. He got loose coming out of 4, and I seen that one happen. I don't think any cars got into him, but he hit the wall there on the front stretch, and I thought for sure he was going to be, because it looked like he hit the wall kind of hard, but he was able to continue and was able to finish. What I say, he got 19th, so apparently 19th was good enough for him to advance. He had gotten enough points and through the regular season to carry him through. And now he was right there at the cutoff at Bristol. Now that we're starting over, he's starting in second place in points, or tied really for first with Byron. So it's kind of like he gets to hit the reset button. So Truex got lucky there. I wouldn't mind seeing Truex carry on through another round or so. I don't I don't know if he'll be in that final four. I mean, he done really good all through the regular season. Now these playoffs have hit, and he just, I don't know. I don't know if he's got. Of course, he had some things on his mind. As we found out, was it Sunday? His longtime, well, from the story that I read, it said his longtime partner had had passed away on Sunday, the day after Bristol. Um, I think she was fighting cancer, I believe. And if I read it right, if I remember, I don't have notes in front of me on it, but I'm going off of memory. I think it said she passed away from a long battle of cancer, and she passed away on Sunday. So, that may have been on his mind for these past few weeks. Who knows? I don't know. Hopefully, obviously we send our thoughts and prayers out with her and her family. And I don't know how long her and Martin had been together, but it sounds like it was a while. So maybe that was on his mind. I don't know. But hopefully he can kind of get his thoughts back and get back on that track of thinking a little clearer, maybe clearly, and maybe he can do something this next round. I think he's got a couple good shots at Texas and Talladega. I totally see Toyota being fast at Texas. Um, I guess we'll find out. They were fast at Kansas. Texas is not too much different from Kansas, so whatever Toyota has found here lately, I think they're going to keep that going right through Texas. After that, who knows? I think they'll be fast at Talladega. So watch out for these Toyotas for the rest of these playoffs, because they're going to be quick. They're going to be tough to catch. And if you catch them, catching them's one thing. Getting around them is a whole nother thing. Um, let's see, what else do I got here? Okay, we'll go over the point standings here. I did notice that all 5 of the Toyotas that have made the playoffs all advanced to the round of 12. So 5 out of these 12 cars are all Toyotas, and that's pretty impressive to me. Of course, if you've listened to these podcasts all year, you'll know that me or Justin, either one, we're not Toyota fans. I'm the Chevy fan, he's the Ford fan. Toyota's kind of left out there as far as we're concerned, but they've only got 6 cars on the track, and 5 of them made the playoffs. And the one that didn't was Ty Gibbs, and he was just outside. He was right on the bubble there at the end. So we're very close to being 100% Toyotas in the playoffs, which I don't care if you like Toyota or not. That's impressive. But all 5 of them that are in the playoffs managed to squeak through Bristol, and they're all still there. Point standings after Bristol going into Texas for the playoffs. You got Byron and Truex at the top, and they're 25 points above the cutoff line. You got Hamlin's third, he's 21 points up. Larson fourth with 12 points up. Buescher 10 points above the line. He's fifth. You got sixth is Kyle Busch, 8 points above. Then in seventh, you got Christopher Bell, 5 points up, and then Reddick is 3 points above the line. So that's the top 8. Those are the ones that are, using air quotes here, safe as of right now. Then you get the cutoff line, and those that are already sitting below the cutoff line before we even turn a lap at the next track. You got Chastain is 3 points below. Brad Keselowski 3 points below. Ryan Blaney 6 points below. And then you got Bubba Wallace at 14 points below. So Chastain, Brad K, Ryan Blaney, Bubba Wallace are the 4 that are, like I said, below the cut line. But we haven't even made a lap at Texas, so that's all going to get shaken up here when we fire them engines and get going at Texas. I've got my thoughts on that. We will see what happens. Like I said, I think the Toyotas are going to be fast at Texas, so there's only one Toyota below that line right now with Bubba. I think he's going to be pretty quick there. Reddick's right above the line, and Bell, they're all going to be pretty quick, If all 5 Toyotas make it to the round of 8, that would be just that'd probably be one of the most impressive things for the whole year. Is all 5 of them making it, and they've got good shots at Texas and Talladega. They're going to be all of them are going to be fast right there. The Roval, I don't know. That's going to be the wild card, but I think I don't know. I want to go out on a limb and say at least one of them will get put out. I don't know how much of a limb that would be, but I see one of them going out after the Roval in Charlotte. Some other things that I jotted down here for the Bristol race, that JGR was just ridiculously incredible. I mean, Christopher Bell won both the first and the second stage. He ended up leading 187 laps. Ty Gibbs led 103 laps, and Denny Hamlin led 142 laps. Add all them up, 432 laps for Toyota, for JGR, for Joe Gibbs Racing. 432 laps at Bristol. The rest of the laps, Corey LaJoie with 48, Kyle Larson with 20, so that's Chevy leading 68 laps, and then Chris Buescher led 1 lap for a total of 69 non-Toyota drivers. 69 laps that Toyota didn't lead out of 500. That's crazy. Because I usually say it's a Chevy track. You don't usually see Toyotas out front at Bristol, but that's all we've seen down there, and they were strong. I mean, they were just very impressive. Ty Gibbs, when he got out front, he was driving a hell of a race. I know I give the kid a lot of slack on here, saying I'm not a Ty Gibbs fan, I'm not a Toyota fan, Grandpa Joe and all that stuff, but when the kid made it out front, he was running away with it. I mean, he was doing really, really good. So, hats off to Ty Gibbs for the Bristol race. I hate to admit it, but he did really good. Let's see. Trying to go over my notes here, what I got, what I've already said, and what I didn't. Hamlin ran away with it at the end. He ended up winning the race, like I said. And then here's what I liked. I'm gonna tell you. I'm not a Denny Hamlin hater. I'm not a Denny Hamlin fan. I don't mind Denny. But I am liking this, I guess you could say, new Denny. I don't know, maybe he's letting that maybe he's letting his personality come out. Maybe it's going to show a little bit more than what it has, because I've always viewed Denny Hamlin as a guy that just goes out there, does his job, does what he needs to do. He's not being all flamboyant. He's not being mouthy. He's not doing that. But this year, these past year or two, I've seen that kind of change. I think everybody's kind of seen that change. And, what he said after the race, I know is getting a lot of attention, as far as, he got a lot of boos, both in the driver introduction and after he won the race. And I know fans can cheer or boo whoever they want. They pay their money to get in. I know I do that. I cheer, I boo, I heckle drivers any chance I can, because why not, It's all in fun. But when he was asked, he said something, and I don't remember the complete interview that he did after the race, but it was the person interviewing said something about all the fans booing Denny Hamlin, and he said, "Oh, you're just mad because I beat your favorite driver." And then the person doing the interview said, "Who's that?" And he said, "All of them." Well, I mean, he's right. You can't deny that. He just beat everybody. But I'm sure he was talking to the Kyle Larson fans and the Chase Elliott fans. So I'm on the side of the fence that this new trash talking Denny, I like that. And that's going to make me a bigger fan of Denny Hamlin moving forward than just the guy that's behind the wheel just doing business, just going out there driving. I like the drivers with personality. That's why I was always a Dale Earnhardt Sr. fan. I liked Dale Jr. because he had the personality. You could see the emotion when he got out of the car. Whether it was good or bad, you seen the emotion. But Now, Dale Sr. didn't have a problem trash talking. Dale Jr. didn't really do a whole lot of that, and we haven't really had much of a trash talker in NASCAR until now. If I'm Denny Hamlin, I'm going to use all them boos as motivation. I'm going to put on my best Ric Flair, and I'm just going to taunt the fans. I mean, why not? Give them something to talk about. Give them a reason to not like you. I mean, I know a lot of them already have most of their reasons. He's a hypocrite, blah, blah, blah. No, I don't believe all that. And a lot of people say he's a hypocrite because he kept telling Chastain, get off of me, quit wrecking, quit, driving so rough, blah, blah, blah. And then he goes out early this year and he takes Chastain out in a race and admitted to it. That goes on all the time. Most drivers just don't admit to it. So I don't blame him for that. Ross Chastain's been a thorn in his side for seems like 2 years, even though it was only just last year he got his payback on him. And Ross hasn't really touched him or got around him much since then. Raced him clean every time they have been around him. And that's what you got to do. You get a driver that's just a thorn in your side. Won't leave you alone, just drives in like Christopher Bell called him, a wrecking ball. That's what he was doing. I mean, people were kind of giving Bell slack for calling him that. He was exactly right. The guy just busts up in there and he don't care if who he pushes out of the way or who he hits. And it was getting to a point of ridiculousness, and Denny Hamlin just gave it back to him. And you know what? Once you give it back to them, they leave you alone. So that's what you have to do. That's part of the whole NASCAR's mantra of boys have at it. Somebody's going to take somebody out one race. Well, you're probably going to get it back at some point, and you can't really be mad if you do. And that's just what Denny Hamlin does. So I don't fault him for that. I don't dislike him for that. I don't even really call him a hypocrite for that. I can appreciate what Denny Hamlin's doing. And I think now that he sees the reaction that he's getting from the fans for saying the things that he's saying, he's going to keep doing it. And why wouldn't he? I would do the same thing. So I applaud Denny Hamlin for that. And I know there's going to be a lot of people that might not like this opinion, but it's mine and I have a right to it. So if I'm Denny Hamlin, I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. Keep going out there, keep making the fans mad. Sometimes some of the most hated guys out there are the ones that win the championship. And it just makes the fans even more mad when you do that. So, I mean, I remember Dale Sr. was loved by many, but he was not loved by all. He had his haters, and he knew it. And so does Denny. But one of the best ways to make the fans mad, hold up that championship trophy at the end of the year. Now, that's something he's never been able to do yet. Can he do it this year? Well, he's on a roll. Toyota has found something here lately. Kind of like RFK has. They found something, made them the best Ford team out there. Even though they're only a two-car team, they're the best Ford team out there right now. And I think Toyota has found something here that, and I don't know if it's in the speed, if it's in the handling. I don't know what they found, obviously, but they found something, and they're not letting it go. So they're going to be up front for, I would say, the rest of these playoffs. So get used to it. And like I said, I hate to admit that, but that's something we're going to be watching for. I'll tell you two of the biggest takeaways that I seen at Bristol was, number one, Carson Hocevar. I think, like I said, I don't have notes in front of me, but I believe this was his third Cup start, and his first two were obviously very not impressive because I don't remember them. But this one, while I was sitting there watching that race, I kept seeing this 42 car just right up there with the leaders. I'm thinking, man, that kid is just he's doing a really good job tonight. So I kept my eye on him, and it's not like he was up there for just a few laps and then he faded back, because I was kind of expecting that. He just don't have the experience running with these guys. Running at this level, he's going to fall back. It's Bristol. It's one of the toughest tracks that we have on the schedule. And I was just waiting for him to start falling back, but he never did. He stayed right up there with them, ended up finishing 11th. that's pretty impressive, especially doing it in a 42 car. I mean, how much has the 42 car ran up front, period, this year? Not much at all. So for a rookie kid like Carson to come in, sit down in that car, and then put it up front at Bristol, that's impressive. I know he's going to be back in that car at Texas, so I'm going to be watching him, see what he does. Um, if he can put it up front and hold it up there for most of the race at Texas, it's not a fluke. Bristol, would be easy to say this Bristol was a fluke that he got up there, kept it up there. If he does it at Texas, it's not a fluke. But I wouldn't even consider this one a fluke. I mean, he looked comfortable in the car. He was putting it up top, running it down low. Wherever he needed to run, that's where he was going, and he held it. He didn't back down from these big dogs. Um, he was just very impressive, and that's something that I'm going to keep my eye on for these next couple of races. I don't know if he's going to be in that ride at Talladega or not. I don't know if they've announced that or not, but I have heard that he is going to be back in that car at Texas. I don't think he's going to be in that car at the Roval. I think they're going to get more of a road course driver in there for that race. But he might be there at Talladega, especially if he does good at Texas. I mean, if he does good at Texas, I would keep him in that car for the rest of the year. That may be their plans. I don't know. Um, and the second thing that I thought was impressive to me was Corey LaJoie running up front for 48 laps. He qualified, 10th, I think it was. Qualified 10th, which was kind of surprising to me. But he put it out front, ran 48 laps, almost won the first stage. It looked like he was going to, and then here comes Bell in one of them Toyotas on fresher tires because Corey LaJoie didn't make a pit stop. He stayed out, and that's how he got the lead. But he almost won that stage. I was really hoping he could take that stage win. I'd like to see some good things happen for Corey. He's been in the sport for a while. He needs some of them good finishes. I think he was going to have a good finish if he wouldn't have gotten that wreck with Slogano. So Corey LaJoie and Carson Hocevar was my two that I thought was just impressive with what they had, what they were able to do, where they were able to run on the track, and keep it there. It's not like I said earlier, it's not like they got there for a couple of laps and then they faded. They were up there up front for a while. Corey LaJoie, 48 laps is the most by a non-Toyota. Now, even Kyle Larson only led 20. Another thing I was hoping, because I'm a Kyle Larson fan, I was kind of hoping Kyle Larson would get up there and win that, but I knew it was going to be a tall order coming from 36th. I think there's only been one driver in the history of the Bristol race to come from dead last, and it might not have been dead last at the time, was Elliott Sadler. I think that was back in the 90s sometime. I don't know the year, but I think that was back in 90, I want to say like 95, 96. Elliott Sadler came from 36th and won the race. Now, I think back in those days there was 43 cars, so he didn't come from dead last, but 36th place is the farthest back that anybody's been able to come from to win the race. He started 36. Like I said, that wasn't dead last, but it was for Larson. It was dead last, 36th place. He come back to lead, and he actually made it up through the field fairly quickly. He was running, I don't know, I guess he had passed 10 cars, and then they made their first round of pit stops. I think him, Denny Hamlin, Austin Dillon all got penalties on that first round of pit stops, which didn't really hurt Larson too bad. It in the end, it didn't really hurt Denny Hamlin either, but at the time it did because he was running up front. He qualified up front. He got that penalty, had to go back to the back, and then it was kind of most of the race getting back up there, but he was able to overcome his pit stop penalty. And then Kyle Larson, same way. It didn't really hurt Kyle as bad because he'd only passed maybe 10 cars, so he had to move back 10 spots, which you don't want to move back 10 spots, but I mean, he just come from 36, so it wasn't as big of a deal for him. But he made it up through the pack pretty quickly after that, so it really didn't have much of an effect on him. Um, there towards the end though, when he got up to second, I don't remember how many laps was left, maybe 50, 60 laps, and Denny looked like he was running away with it, and then Larson got to second. He was able to track him down. He got up on his back bumper there for a little bit, and then Hamlin, I don't know if he used up his stuff trying to catch Denny, or what happened, or if Denny just turned it on after he got right there on his backside. But Denny ran away with it after that. Lap traffic kind of helped hold Larson back there a little bit, and Denny was just on a rail. There was no beating him once he got out front, and it was pretty obvious. So yeah, that is my Bristol takeaway from what happened. Like I said, Hocevar and Corey LaJoie were just, what they did was impressive. But there is some news that I seen today coming out of Bristol for the Truck Series, and I don't really understand this. Maybe some of you will, and I'm just going to read it straight from NASCAR.com. It says, NASCAR officials penalized 2 teams in the Craftsman Truck Series on Tuesday for lug nut infractions found after last Thursday's race at Bristol. The number 2 Rev Racing Chevrolet for playoff driver Nick Sanchez and the number 17 Tricon Garage Toyota driven by Taylor Gray were each found with 1 unsecured lug nut after Thursday night's UNOH 200. The violation of Section 8.8.10.4a in the NASCAR rulebook resulted in $2,500 fines for each team's crew chief. Danny Stockman for the number 2 team and Jacob Hampton for the number 17 team. Now, this is what I don't understand. Now, these trucks still have 5 lug nuts on them. You know, they're the old school 5 lug nuts. So they got 1 loose after the race. They find that they have 1 loose after the race. You still got 4 that are on the truck and are tight. And I don't know. I think these are 5 lugs. I don't think they're 6 lugs. I think they're 5 lugs. So you got 4 still tight and you got 1 loose. What's the big deal? It's not like the whole wheel is loose. No, you know, the Cup Series, they've only got the 1 lug, so if it's loose, I understand that's kind of a big deal. But for the trucks and even the Xfinity, you know, they still got 5 lugs. So if one's loose after the race, that does not mean that the wheel is loose. And who knows, that might have came loose during the race. You know, just because it's loose on there, it doesn't mean that the crew didn't get it tight. It could have came loose during the race, so I don't understand. Now, maybe if they had 3 or 4 lugs that were loose, maybe I could understand the penalty, but just 1, I just don't understand that. You know, obviously NASCAR has their reasons for making that rule, but I don't get it. 1 lug shouldn't end up being a fine. But that's one little bit of news that I seen today. And I also seen from the Truck Series was that Matt DiBenedetto, oh, I'm like everybody else, I usually have a hard time saying that name. Matt DiBenedetto is out at Rackley, WAR, Rackley War, whatever you want to call it. Rackley War, that's his team name, for the rest of the Truck Series. Now, I know he announced earlier in the year, maybe 3 or 4 races ago, that he was not going to be back in their trucks next year. I don't know if he's already found him a ride. I don't know what he's got, what his plans are, but I know he announced that he wasn't going to be back at that team next year. And I guess they just went ahead and found his replacement. You know, it's not a big surprise. It's fairly common. I mean, we've seen it with RCR 23XI last year with Tyler Reddick. You know, he announced a year early that he was leaving RCR to go to 23XI, so RCR just went ahead and pushed him on over there a year early so they can get their guy. It happens. It's not really a surprise, like I said. I just I hate to see that from Matty D. You know, he seems to be one of them personalities that he just kind of he gets in the car, truck, whatever he's driving, and he just races. You know, he seems like he's not one of them that's racing dirty. He's out there, he's racing everybody clean. He's giving them respect. He's doing what he needs to do to save the truck, save the car. And I mean, he doesn't seem to be that top talent that everybody's looking for, but he does pretty good. I mean, I hate to see that for him. Hopefully he can find him a ride somewhere in one of the top 3 series, and he's back out there for next year. So I would really like to see Matty D get back up into Cup Series. Whether that happens or not, I don't know. I mean, it may or may not, but I'm rooting for the guy to get back up there. I'd like to see Matty D back up there, but that's really it. Oh no, hold on, this is not it. There's one last thing I was gonna say, and I know, and this one's about Chase Elliott. I know I've given Chase Elliott a lot of grief over the past few weeks. I mean, a lot of people have. I'm not going to back away from that. I still stand on my comments. But Elliott didn't really do all that bad at Bristol. You know, I know he finished 7th. He was higher than 7th at a few points there in the race. I wasn't able to keep track of where he was all the time, but there was one moment in the race that really made me take note of Chase Elliott, and that was on a restart. I think I even wrote down which restart it was, so give me just a second here, I could tell you. Roughly, right around lap 150, they re-racked them. I don't remember what happened. That might have been the Logano Corey LaJoie wreck. But they re-racked them, and Kyle Larson was, I think on the restart, Larson was front row inside. Chase Elliott was second row inside. And Chris Buescher was third row. So you had the 5 car, the 9 car, and then the 17 car, all on the inside. And then, I don't remember which Toyota. I think it was Bell at the time was on the front row outside. I may be wrong there. I'm not sure. But what I remember about that restart was that you had the perfect opportunity for Chase Elliott to redeem himself from the door jam at Kansas. You know, when they come out of the pits and Larson bumped into Elliott trying to give Brad K room as they come out. And then as soon as they get on the track, Elliott door jams him. Well, he had the perfect opportunity here at Bristol to redeem himself from that. And he had, as they threw the green, he had the perfect opportunity to push Larson out to the lead, get him out front, and he didn't. Now, whether he was having car issues, whether he just wasn't expecting to start, you know, many things could have happened as to why he didn't push Larson out to the front. But it looked like, and I had other people text me this as it happened, it looked like he just didn't want to push Larson out there. Now, I know a lot of us make drama out of nothing, and this could be another one of those things, but it just looked like Elliott just didn't want to push Larson out there, so he kind of let Larson do it on his own. And Larson did. He stayed up front. Elliott kind of faded back a little bit and got back up to 7th by the end of the race, but I know right after that restart, Elliott kind of dropped back, so he may have been having some issues. I don't know. It just didn't look like he was, from my perspective, and that's all my opinion. I may be making a mountain out of a molehill here, but I just thought that was kind of crappy. You know, you've got every opportunity to redeem yourself, not only with your teammate, but with the fans, with your team owner. You know, opportunities like that aren't going to come along every restart. You know, you're going to have them from time to time, but I just feel like he could have been right there on the back bumper of Larson and pushed him out there. Now, would that have changed anything? Probably not. I mean, the Toyotas were just too strong. They would have passed Larson anyway. But in that moment, you had the opportunity, and it just didn't happen. So I think that was just, I was hoping to see it play out a little bit differently, but it never did. So I don't know. We'll see what comes of that. Nobody said anything about it, but you know, none of the big racing talk shows or anything like that. I haven't heard anything come of it on the Sirius XM. That seems to be what everybody goes by these days, is what they say. But I just happened to notice it. I know Justin noticed it as well. So we'll get his thoughts on that here later in the week when we do our other episode. But I think that's going to do it for this one. Hopefully your favorite driver made it through. I know HR Scotty's favorite driver made it through barely. Bubba's still in there. Justin's favorite guy, Harvick, got knocked out, and that sucks. Like I said, I was really wanting to see Kevin do it, and I really like that a lot of these tracks for this year have done something for Kevin. In his last year, they're honoring Kevin in their own way. Some of the tracks have put his number on the wall, or whatever they do. I noticed, Bristol, whatever it was they did during the pre-race. Um, I don't remember exactly what it was, but he was able to do it with his daughter. And for some reason, I'm wanting to say it was they gave the driver "start your engine," but it wasn't that, because Kevin was one of them saying it. It could have been though, but you could tell it was a special moment for him because he got to do it with his daughter. And I didn't notice this after they said it, but no, it might have just been driver introductions. I think that's what it was, driver introductions. He was out there with his daughter, and they said something about "thank you, Bristol," "thank you for the memories," or something like that. And he was able to say all this stuff with his daughter out there, and I thought that was just really cool. And I didn't notice it, but my wife was telling me that she was watching him, watching his face and stuff after he walked away. Um, she said that you could tell that he was starting to tear up. He was fighting that emotion, and I think that's pretty cool. Just, I guess it's the older person in me. I can relate to them moments now. I mean, he's on his last go around, so anytime he can do something like that with his daughter, it's pretty cool. You're not going to get them chances again. So I'm glad he's able to take advantage of all them opportunities that he has like that, and just make it special to include his family with him on this journey that he's currently going through. As he's shutting. I mean, it's life is like a book. You got different chapters, and he knows that this chapter of his life is coming to an end, and he's going to be starting a new one next year. So he's making the most of it with his family, and that's the stuff that I appreciate. Not only did I root for Kevin Harvick quite a bit during his career, even now I'm still rooting for the guy, but to see him have them moments like that is special, and I hope he makes the most out of all of them. So I just wanted to include that in this episode while I was saying all this other stuff that I thought about. And I'm sure there's a few things that I'm missing that I forgot. I jotted down a couple little PowerPoints to remember, but we usually don't have a script, and I'm trying to keep to that the best I can. But that's all. That stuff is what I seen. My takeaways from Bristol. We had a blast. You're going to hear more stories about that later in the week. I don't know what day we're going to do that, but I'm sure by Thursday or Friday you're going to be getting all kinds of Bristol stories from not only me, but Justin, and Mama Jess. We're all going to have our stories to tell, and you're going to have fun with that. So, like I said, I mean, we ended up half naked and liquored up out in the parking lot. So that's what we do. But I hope you look forward to that. I don't know exactly, like I said, I don't know exactly what day that'll be, Thursday or Friday, but it'll be coming. But that's all I've got for you for this episode. And I hope you all had a good weekend, enjoyed the races, and we will see you guys later in the week.